I'm Matthew Galgani with a quick look at how you can see if your stock passes or fails the buying checklist. The buying checklist you'll find in my book, How to Make Money in Stocks Getting Started, helps make sure the most important stock picking criteria are in place before you buy. I like the phrase, put the big rocks in first, and that's why the checklist is divided into the 3 big rocks you want to see before you invest. Make sure the overall market is in an uptrend. Focus on stocks with big earnings growth and a new innovative product or service, and buy stocks being heavily bought by institutional investors. You can go through the checklist and see if those big rocks are in place very quickly, because you'll find pass, neutral, or fail ratings for most of the criteria just by using IBD Stock Checkup on Investors.com. Let's see how it works. Start by going to IBD Stock Checkup on Investors.com. You'll find it under the Research tab. Just type in the company name or stock symbol and click the button. Let's use Priceline.com as an example. The first thing you'll notice in Stock Checkup is the stock doctor pointing to the composite rating. As of May 21, 2013, Priceline.com scored the highest possible rating of 99, meaning it's outperforming 99% of all stocks in terms of key fundamental and technical characteristics. And you can see it earns the Best in Group title for both composite rating and SMR rating, which tracks sales growth, profit margins, and return on equity. So it's clearly a market and industry leader. Let's scroll down a bit and see where to find pass, neutral, or fail ratings for the items on the buying checklist. First, make sure the overall market is in an uptrend. You can see here that it is. Remember, most stocks move in the same direction as the overall market, so only make new buys during a confirmed uptrend. Next, we want to make sure the company has big earnings growth and an innovative product or new trend driving that profitability. You'll find pass, neutral, or fail ratings for the related items in this fundamental performance section. Priceline scores a passing or green rating for almost every item on the buying checklist. The average EPS growth rate over the last 3 quarters is not part of the buying checklist since earnings growth is covered in other items on the list, but the higher the number the better. While Priceline comes up a little short here, few stocks are picture perfect in every single respect, and the sea of green you see here shows that overall it's a strong CanSlim stock. Further down in Stock Checkup, you'll also find links to articles on the stock to learn more about what the company does and what new services and trends are driving it. Next on the buying checklist, make sure the stock is being heavily bought by institutional investors. In one glance, you can see how Priceline earns passing grades for each of the related items. Now it gets just a neutral rating for its industry group ranking. Ideally, the stocks group would be ranked in the top 40 to 50 groups. But here's the key point. We look at group ranking as one way to help answer this crucial question. Are institutional investors heavily buying the stock? If large investors are pouring their money into a certain industry, that group will go up in the rankings. So all things being equal, you prefer the stock to be in a top-ranked group. But there are additional ways to gauge institutional demand, such as the accumulation distribution rating, the up-down volume ratio, and whether the number of funds that own the stock is rising or declining. Priceline earns passing grades for each of those. So at this time, when you ask the key question, are institutional investors heavily buying the stock? The answer is yes. Now, before you use the buying checklist and Stock Checkup, you have to find some top-rated stocks to review. You can do that by checking the IBD 50 and Your Weekly Review as part of a simple weekend routine. Doing that routine, in August 2012, you would have come across FleetCor Technologies in the IBD 50. Look how the analysis under the chart told you it was near a buy point, saying 2% from 4140 entry as new base forms. That's a great start, and since FleetCor is on the IBD 50 list of top growth stocks, you know it has some strong CanSlim traits. If you had run it through Stock Checkup at that time, you would have seen how it earned a passing grade and that the overall market was in an uptrend. And by the way, you can see a lot of that key info right here in the IBD 50 chart. It had a 98 composite rating, a 97 EPS rating, meaning that in terms of both quarterly and annual earnings growth, it was outperforming 97% of all stocks. It had a very strong return on equity of 25%, well above the 17% minimum you look for. Last quarter's sales growth was 28%, above the 25% minimum you want to see. And its accumulation distribution rating, which tracks institutional buying over the last 13 weeks, was a solid B+. So the market was in an uptrend, and FleetCor had earned a passing grade. The next part of the buying checklist is to check the stock's chart action. This is what FleetCor's weekly chart looked like at the close on August 10, 2012, when the latest IBD 50 was published. Remember, the chart analysis told you it was 2% from a 4140 entry. It was a cup-shaped base, and the 4140 buy point was calculated by adding 10 cents to the peak on the left. So as you were doing your weekend routine and reviewing FleetCor, you could have added it to your watch list and even put in a conditional order with your broker to buy it if it broke through that ideal buy point. And FleetCor did break out the following week. There are certain conditions we look for on the day of a breakout, so let's switch to a daily chart and see if FleetCor met them. First, you want volume to be at least 40 to 50% above average on the day of the breakout. Here's where FleetCor broke through the ideal buy point, and as you can see, volume was 108% higher than normal. You also want to make sure the relative strength line is nearing or in new high ground at the time of the breakout. And you can see here that FleetCor's RS line was in new high territory and heading higher. The buying range for a stock is from the ideal buy point up to 5% above that price. So you could have bought the stock on August 15th as it broke out, and if you missed it, it was still within that 5% range the following day. Let's see what happened next. From that breakout in August 2012, FleetCor rose over 100% in just the next 9 months. Once you own a stock, use the selling checklist to see the right time to lock in your profits or cut short any losses. Not every trade will go your way, but if you stay disciplined and stick to the guidelines on both the buying and selling checklists, you'll be in a good position to both grow and protect your money. So that's a quick look at how you can see if a stock passes or fails the buying checklist. You'll find the more you do it, the quicker it gets. And the payoff for staying disciplined and going through those steps can be life-changing over time. To learn more about how to apply these and other CanSlim rules to the current market, tune in to our weekly radio show at investors.com/radio show. Thanks for watching.